So today, in what has become a bit of a pattern, Trump ambushed yet another world leader in the Oval Office, and this time it was the president of South Africa. And this ambush was about promoting one of Trump's favorite topics for some time now, what he outrageously refers to as the genocide of white South African farmers. Now, this white genocide myth is undercut by the fact that the high rates of violence in South Africa have long affected farmers and farm workers, regardless of race. A South African court dismissed claims of white genocide in the country as imagined, and none of South Africa's political parties, including those that represent white South Africans, have claimed that there is a genocide in South Africa. So how exactly did this white genocide myth get into Trump's head? Well, we have to go back to 2018 for a moment, when Trump posted, after some apparent inspiration from Fox News and Tucker Carlson, that he had asked his then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to study the issue. You can see the post right there on the screen. Now, the Fox segment that Trump appeared to be responding to was about a new land distribution proposal. But for the far right, the story was really about whites being unfairly targeted rather than reform. That's how that was that perception. Now, in January of this year, South Africa passed a new land reform deal, a move that sparked fury among a lot of people on the far right, including the guy who donated $250 million to Trump's 2024 campaign. Yes, Elon Musk, you can see him right there. He has, of course, used his social media platform to push this baseless white genocide myth. And that leads us to the debacle of the Oval Office meeting we saw today, when South Africa's president calmly tried to explain to Trump why the white supremacist fever dream that they're pushing was completely bonkers.
I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories. Let me see the articles, please, if you would. And turn the lights down. Turn the lights down and just put this on. It's right behind you.
So, yeah, I mean, he had a video ready to push his baseless claims. And we're not showing you that video because the video is focused on years-old comments from a fringe radical politician that folks like Elon Musk have fixated on. And look, the fact that Trump and his allies are not just pushing this narrative, but they're making policy decisions based on it is incredibly alarming. But it's also not surprising. I mean, this is the same administration that is waging an assault on diversity and equality right here at home by firing qualified officials, taking books off shelves, removing posters off walls, and now even opening DOJ investigations against Chicago's mayor for celebrating his office's diversity. Something, by the way, elected officials of both parties have done for a long time. There's a reason that Trump is relentlessly pushing this myth, and it falls directly into his and his administration's worldview that diversity is simply a threat to purity. You know, just laid out how Elon Musk has played a big role in the president spreading white supremacist lies about South Africa. But what's Musk getting out of all of this? Well, here's South African billionaire Johan Rupert in the Oval Office earlier today.
We have too many deaths, but it's across the board. It's not only white farmers, it's across the board. And we need technological help. We need Starlink at every little police station. We need drones.
That was a very strange moment. The comment definitely caught the attention of former U.S. Ambassador to South Africa, Patrick Gaspard, who posted this. Pretty extraordinary to see billionaire Johan Rupert pleading Trump for some deal for Elon Musk and Starlink to come, quote, save South Africa. I think that this grift from Musk lies at the heart of this entire performance. And former U.S. Ambassador to South Africa, Patrick Gaspard, joins us. Patrick, you mentioned, and I just explained how this didn't originate with Musk, but you mentioned how Musk grift is a potential factor here, which it feels like there's no question. How much do you think this is about his South African roots versus a chance for him to make money? And explain to us the whole Johan Rupert factor here.
I will, and thanks for having me on, Jen. It is all of it is all of the above, right? So for Trump, there's a perfect trifecta here. He gets to play to a domestic political audience that's obsessed with white existential threats, white Christianity being threatened, being removed, and Donald Trump is anything that can save them. That's one part of it. The second part is you and I are not having a conversation right now about prices going up in Walmart or the millions of people who are going to be splashed off of Medicaid. And the third piece with Donald Trump is always about the art of the grift. Elon Musk has been in a contentious policy debate, argument with the South African government for some time now, as he's tried to get the Starlink system into South Africa. There is a regulatory body that makes sure that if a foreign-owned business is coming into South Africa, that there's equity in it for Black South Africans who traditionally have been boxed out of the middle class of the economy in the country. Musk, having failed to get his way, started then lifting up all of these discredited myths about white genocide in South Africa. It all then migrated on the air to Tucker Carlson, who, of course, is the bullhorn, if you will, to Donald Trump. Donald Trump picks it up, begins to amplify it at a time that he knows that his friend is trying to cut this deal, and in a fashion that he knows is going to be in the service of his own domestic politics as he sends his dog whistle to his fringe element in the U.S. It all works perfectly well for him. Johan Rupert is one of the largest landowners in South Africa. He's been close to many political parties in the country. He's got a long-term relationship with Trump because of how they've played golf with one another in the past. And he's been a bit of a back channel with Musk and other Africana business leaders.
It is, watching that was bizarre, offensive, strange, all of the things. In addition to being the ambassador to South Africa, I want to talk to you about that. And you just have a very interesting background. You also have had very high-level roles in the White House. Just watching that today, you referenced sort of sending the dog whistle to his domestic audience. He also, they've gone after the Chicago mayor for saying things that are very normal. Explain to us how you see the connections between him lifting up this storyline in South Africa and his effort to kind of dog whistle to the United States and to his domestic political audience.
Jen, I had the honor of working with you in the White House, serving under a president, but you and I understood every single day that we were not serving that president, we were serving the American people. It is so deeply offensive and does a violence to your spirit if you believe in public service to see the gilding that he's put around the White House now and to understand that there is self-benefit in almost every act from him. And that self-benefit, tragically for the American people, is tied to an autocratic drift where we're seeing the weaponization of the DOJ. I fear the weaponization of the FBI and possibly the IRS at the same time. And here in that Oval Office today, this man who just a few days ago stood in Saudi Arabia and told the Arab world that we'll no longer be lecturing them on human rights, and he's fine if MBS wants to chainsaw journalists in his embassies, now stands up and does a pretense of caring about human rights in this profoundly cynical way, in a way that lifts up this kind of white genocide story to help him with raw, crass politics. Deeply offensive, hurtful to a partnership that we have with a really important nation in sub-Saharan Africa, but altogether harmful to our constitutional instincts, our norms, our values, and does a major disservice to that Oval Office, that sacred space.
Ambassador Patrick Gaspard, thank you so much for talking straight about this kind of horrific meeting to watch today. Really appreciate you joining me.